Hello my friends, and welcome back to Daily English Voices. I'm Mia, and today we're going to face one of the biggest obstacles English learners talk about again and again, real listening. I mean the kind of listening where you can follow English naturally, without depending on subtitles, and feel calm, confident, and in control. You might enjoy English movies, TV series, or YouTube videos. And you might turn on subtitles every single time because they make you feel safe. Subtitles seem helpful, and sometimes they are. But there is a hidden cost. When your eyes are doing the work, your ears stop learning. You believe you're training your listening, but in reality you're training your reading. Then, when you switch the subtitles off, you suddenly feel lost and frustrated. Many learners get stuck in this pattern for years. Today, I want to show you a better approach, one that trains your ears and your brain step by step, the same way athletes train their bodies. You don't need to memorize thousands of words at once. You don't need to spend 10 hours a day with your headphones on. What you need is a smart method, patient repetition, and the right material at the right level. If you follow the process I'm about to share, English will gradually sound clearer and feel more natural. Let's begin with the most common mistake, choosing material that is far too difficult. Learners often jump straight into fast news broadcasts or complicated dramas full of slang, nuance, and background noise. The result is predictable: confusion, disappointment, and the thought, "My English is terrible." But the problem usually isn't your ability. The problem is the mismatch between your current level and the input you're using. If you try to climb a mountain on your very first day, you'll slip. If you start with a small hill, you'll climb and keep climbing. Listening works exactly the same way. At the beginning, you need high context English. What is high context English? It's audio where the situation, actions, and meaning are made obvious by clear visuals or by very familiar everyday scenarios. With high context input, you can guess what is happening even when you miss a word. You don't drown in a sea of sounds. You float. You move. You improve. Think about a simple animated cartoon for children. The pictures carry the story: waking up, brushing teeth, eating breakfast, going to school. Even if you don't understand every word, you can follow the plot because the visuals fill the gaps. Or consider a graded story podcast designed for learners: short sentences, common routines, a narrator who speaks clearly. I get up. I make coffee. I go to work. These are actions you already know from real life, so your brain can connect sound with meaning quickly. High context listening builds confidence. Confidence keeps you consistent. And consistency builds skill. So, for the early stage of your listening training, pick content where the context does half the job for you: short story podcasts, simple vlogs with lots of everyday actions, how-to videos with clear demonstrations, or cartoons with physical comedy and obvious visual clues. When you can follow these without stress, you'll be ready to go a little deeper. Now let's talk about the method that will transform your listening routine, the 3-listen rule. Most learners press play once, feel confused, and give up. But one listen is not training. One listen is a test. Your brain needs repeated exposure to the same sounds to build recognition. The 3-listen rule is simple and powerful. First listen, the gist. Your only goal is to catch the big picture. Who is speaking? Where are we? What's the topic? Don't pause. Don't rewind. Don't worry about the parts you miss. Ask yourself one question: what is this mostly about? If you can answer that, the first listen is a success. Second listen, the key phrases. Now play the same audio again. This time, your mission is to notice repeated expressions and important word groups. We don't listen to individual words in isolation, we listen to chunks. Phrases like, I woke up early, I ran to the store, or I felt exhausted, carry meaning as units. When you hear them again, your brain starts to map how they sound where the stress falls, how the sounds connect, how fast they move. You're training recognition of natural rhythm and common patterns. Third, listen, the details. Play it one more time. Now pick out a handful of specifics, times, numbers, places, colors, or small actions. He woke up at 7. She bought 3 apples. It was raining. You still don't need every tiny word. You're simply tightening the picture. By the end of the third listen, you have a strong sense of the story plus a few concrete facts that make it vivid and memorable. Think of it like looking at a painting. First you step back and see the overall scene. Then you move closer and notice the shapes and lines. Finally you lean in and see the small brushstrokes. Together, these 3 views create a complete experience. That is exactly what the 3-listen rule does for your ears. Now I want to clear up a myth that causes a lot of anxiety: you do not need to understand every word to understand English. Even native speakers miss words all the time. They keep going because they focus on meaning. They use context, tone, and the rest of the sentence to fill in the blanks. Imagine someone asks, do you want to grab a coffee later? Maybe the verb, grab, is new to you. But you hear, coffee, and, later, and you hear the friendly question tone. You understand the message: this person wants to have coffee with me. That's enough for life. Communication is about messages, not about perfect, 100% word-by-word decoding. So here is a new rule to keep in your mind: I don't need every word, I need the message. When you accept this, you relax, your brain stops panicking, and your ears start learning. Let's go deeper into technique: what to do while you listen. Listen for chunks, not single words. English is spoken in groups of words that live together. I'm gonna go, do you wanna, at the end of the day, I used to. Reductions and linking make these chunks sound different from the dictionary form. Train your ear to notice the music of these phrases. Try repeating them as a unit. Track stress and rhythm. English is stress-timed. Important words get the beat, small grammar words often get reduced. If you feel the rhythm, you'll catch the key information even when the audio is fast. Clap softly or tap your finger as you listen to mark the stressed syllables. Shadow short segments. After your third listen, choose one short part, maybe 10 to 20 seconds, and speak along with the audio, matching timing and intonation. This is called shadowing. It connects your listening and speaking and trains your mouth to reproduce the sounds you want your ears to notice. Do this 2 or 3 times, then move on. Use subtitles strategically and late. Resist subtitles for the first 2 listens. On the third listen, if you want to check the words you missed, use the subtitles quickly like a dictionary, not like a script to read the whole time. Then turn them off again and play the same segment once more with only your ears. Subtitles are a tool, not a crutch. Keep a tiny phrase notebook. Write down 2 or 3 useful phrases from each session, no more. Write the phrase as it sounds and what it means. The goal is not to build a giant list, the goal is to build a small collection of high-value chunks you can actually recognize and use. Now, what should you choose to listen to? Here's a simple progression you can follow for the next several weeks. Stage A, super high context. Short cartoons, beginner story podcasts, cooking or craft videos where actions are clearly shown, simple vlogs describing daily routines. Aim for 3 to 5 minutes of audio per session. Stage B, familiar topic monologues. Short talks or vlogs on topics you already know well: morning routines, hobbies, travel, food, study tips. The vocabulary is predictable, so you can focus on sound. Keep the length under 7 to 8 minutes. Stage C, light dialogues. Short scenes with two speakers, clear audio, and everyday situations: ordering food, making plans, shopping. Avoid heavy slang at first. Pay attention to turn-taking and question intonation. Stage D, news features and longer conversations. When you feel confident with the earlier stages, introduce clear news features, not live breaking news, or podcast conversations with good audio quality. Start with 5-8-minute clips before tackling entire episodes. Next, let's build a quick daily routine you can start today. 10 to 15 minutes is enough if you repeat it every day. Minute 0 to 1. Choose a short, high-context clip. Sit comfortably. Decide on your listening goal. Minute 1 to 3, first listen, gist. No pausing. No subtitles. Ask yourself, what is the main topic? Who are the speakers? What is the setting? Minute 3 to 7, second listen, key phrases. Play it again. This time, notice repeated expressions. Say them softly when you hear them. If it helps, tap the rhythm with your finger. Minute 7 to 10, third listen, details. Listen once more. Catch 2 to 5 specific details: numbers, times, places. If you really want to check, glance at subtitles briefly, then turn them off and replay the same part. Minute 10 to 12, shadowing, optional but powerful. Pick a 10 to 20 second segment and shadow it twice. Match the speaker's timing and melody. Minute 12 to 15, phrase capture. Write down 2 or 3 phrases you want to remember. Read them aloud. Imagine a simple sentence where you could use each one. That's it. Short and focused. The magic is in doing this every day, not in making it long and exhausting. Consistency beats intensity. Let's also talk about motivation, because listening improvement is not linear. Some days you will feel sharp and everything will click. Other days you will feel slow and unsure. That's normal. The brain builds skill underneath the surface, and breakthroughs appear after quiet periods of steady practice. To keep your motivation strong, try these simple habits. Track tiny wins. At the end of each session, note one phrase you recognized or one detail you caught that you would have missed last week. Celebrate progress, even if it's small. Use a timer. 15 minutes on a visible timer adds a sense of structure and finish. When the timer ends, you're done, no guilt. Repeat favorite clips. If you enjoyed a piece, come back to it tomorrow. Familiar audio deepens your understanding and boosts confidence. Rotate topics you love. If you like cooking, technology, travel, or fitness, choose materials from those areas. Enjoyment increases attention, and attention increases learning. Now, a quick word about speed. Many learners slow the audio to 0.75x or 0.9x and never return to normal speed. Slowing down can help briefly when you're analyzing a difficult line, but don't stay there. Real life does not slow down. Use reduced speed as a microscope, not as a permanent environment. After you analyze, return to normal speed and test yourself again. What about accents? English has many accents, and it's impossible to master them all at once. Start with one accent, for example, a clear American or British accent, to build your base. Then gradually add variety, different regions, different speakers, and different styles. Think of accents like different sports surfaces: grass, clay, hard court. You build your core skills first, then you adapt. Another question I hear a lot: should I translate while I listen? Try not to. Translation introduces a delay in your brain. You start thinking in your first language while the audio is moving ahead in English. Instead, train yourself to connect English sounds directly to images and actions. If the audio says, "He grabbed his umbrella and dashed out the door," picture it. You don't need to translate "grabbed" or "dashed" into your own language every time. Link the sound to the scene. Let's return to subtitles for a moment and set a clear policy you can follow. No subtitles for the first listen. Your ears need the workout. No subtitles for the second listen. Train phrase recognition. Optional subtitles in the third listen for quick checks only. Confirm a few words, then turn them off. Final pass without subtitles. End with your ears in charge. A word on equipment: you don't need special gear. Any decent headphones will do. If your surroundings are noisy, closed-back headphones can help, but they are not required. What matters most is a quiet place for 15 minutes and your full attention. Let's build a progression plan for the next 2 weeks so you don't have to guess. Week 1, days 1 to 7. Choose 3-5-minute high-context clips. Use the 3-listen rule every day. Shadow 10 to 20 seconds of each clip twice. Record 2 phrases per day in your notebook. Goal: reach the end of each session feeling calm and successful. Week 2, days 8 to 14. Increase some clips to 6 to 8 minutes, still high context or familiar topics. Keep the 3-listen rule. Add 1 short dialogue midweek. Shadow 2 different segments per day, total 30 to 40 seconds. Goal: recognize more chunks without pausing, rely less on subtitles during the third listen. By the end of 2 weeks, most learners notice they can follow the main idea of new clips more quickly, and they feel less stress about unknown words. That's real progress. Let's practice a quick mental exercise you can do during any conversation or audio message first. When you hear a sentence, ask, "What does the speaker want me to know or do?" Even if you miss a few words, you can usually catch the speaker's intention. Invite, apologize, suggest, explain, complain, ask for help, or share news. If you catch the intention, you can respond naturally. This keeps you from freezing when you hear an unfamiliar term. Here are a few everyday examples of intention. Hey, are you free around 6? Scheduling a plan. Could you send me that file? Requesting help. I'm so sorry I'm late. Apologizing. Let's try a different approach. Suggesting a change. You won't believe what happened. Telling a story. Train yourself to hear intention before details. Then let details fill in as you listen more. Finally, I want to talk about mindset, because the way you think about listening shapes the way you practice. Be patient with the process. Listening is a skill your brain builds through exposure. It's like learning to recognize a friend's voice in a crowded room. The more you hear it, the faster you recognize it. Be brave with uncertainty. You will not catch everything. That's okay. Stay with the speaker. Guess from context. Keep your mind open and relaxed. Be consistent with time. 10 focused minutes daily beats an hour once a week. Make listening a habit like brushing your teeth. Be selective with input. Not all English is good training material. Prioritize clear audio, familiar topics, and natural rhythm. Add difficulty gradually. Be active, not passive. Shadow, Repeat, write a couple of phrases, and re-listen without subtitles. Do something with the audio, don't only let it pass by your ears. Before we close, let me give you a simple checklist you can save for your next session. Choose a short, high-context clip, 3 to 8 minutes. First listen, catch the gist, no pausing, no subtitles. Second listen, notice key phrases and rhythm. Third listen, collect 2 to 5 details. Optional quick subtitle check. Shadow 10 to 20 seconds twice. Write 2 useful phrases in your notebook. Smile, you trained your ears today. That's the system. It's not complicated, but it is powerful. Small steps, repeated often, change your listening forever. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on Daily English Voices. I'm Mia, and I believe you can do this. Turn your ears back on. Trust the process. Keep the subtitles off for those first 2 listens. Use the 3-listen rule. Collect a few phrases each day. Little by little, the fog will lift. English will stop sounding like a blur and start sounding like a language you live in. Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.